are back. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well out there. I hope you have a great weekend planned. Get through today. Be okay, right? All you want to do half the time is get to Friday. Get to Friday. But we have gotten there. You muted. Push-ups. Push-ups, D-Gun.
Whoops. Hey, did Debbie come back? Debbie, hey, Debbie, we're talking football now.
Come on.
Come on back, Debbie. You can do this.
Wave you home. I'm waving you.
You can rejoin the chat family again.
Exactly. So again, hope everybody's doing well out there. But yeah, so a little football. And like we mentioned off the top of the show, the Christian McCaffrey deal, if he's healthy, he's missed a ton of time in 2020 and 2021. He's been healthy thus far this year. But that certainly is an impactful trade because he's such a good two-way player. And Derek, you have such a good offensive mind with Kyle Shanahan, who can utilize those kind of weapons. And also what it does is it takes a little bit more pressure off of Jimmy G in that offense.
Oh, my goodness. You know, when that trade went down, I said, what? I think 49ers, you know, they obviously are making a push now. When you look at where they are in the division, they're making a push now to not only just win the division, but for seeding as well. And you had a Christian McCaffrey. Dude, you're talking about an electric weapon, not just running the football, but also catching it out of the backfield. Now, when you look at what his availability has been over the last two seasons prior to this, 3 games in 20, 7 games in 21. The scary part is, I think in 20, he was averaging just under 4 yards a carry. In 21, he was averaging 4.5 yards a carry.
Still good. Yeah.
Nah, still good. When his receiving in 3 games in 2020, he had 19 catches, buck 49. But in 7 games in 21, he had 37 catches, 343 yards in 7 games.
Yeah.
So that tells you if he can get in space, he can take it to the house. Now, as you mentioned, that gives them a third player. Now, and I'm just saying 3 primary players who can take it to the house in Debo, Brandon Ayuk, now Christian McCaffrey.
And Kittle. Throw Kittle in there. Yeah.
Kittle, when I say take it to the house.
Not explosive,
you know what
but
I mean?
Still. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
He's one of the most rugged tight ends. You know what? When we stack up the best tight ends in the game, we start with we measure everybody by Travis Kelce. But in terms of rugged physicality, there is no more rugged physical tight end in a game of football right now than George Kittle.
Yeah, in terms of two-way blocking and
my goodness,
and punishment after the catch.
Oh my goodness,
he's nasty. He's nasty.
He is flat out nasty, dude. And that's not even looking at. And I got off of it. Dang it, I got off of their roster. And there's a couple other guys. Plus you got Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, who's really a battering ram. Who's the other receiver I left out? Oh, you got Ray McLeod. Who's he doesn't get a lot of notoriety, and you have a young kid named Jeff Wilson as well.
Right.
So they're built on speed. They're built on power in the trenches on both sides of the football, and the skill position is speed personified.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then, how much does that? Because right now they're 3-3, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're not off to a great start. They lost to Atlanta last week.
Yep.
And I granted they've been kind of banged up defensively and whatnot, but they're getting troops back here.
Yep.
How much does the McCaffrey move the needle for you with them? Like all right, let's do it. Let's dig into our NFC rankings, Derek. I know we did it last week, but just to see if it's maybe changed in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
For you, I will tell you, I have them at number 2 right now behind the Eagles after this move.
You know what they say? Brilliant minds think alike.
Where?
Where? I also have them at number 2.
Okay.
Based on this move, if he stays healthy, based on this move, the physicality they like to play with. They're very creative of offense, but they're also physical. Yes. Very, very few teams are both in the NFL. Defensively, they love to beat you in a submission. They love that. They get away with some extracurricular stuff, especially on the back end with the hand checking and all. But they get away with it, just like Tampa Bay does. Mm-hmm. So you know what? You go to the dance. You go with what got you to the dance, right?
Yeah.
And so they do that as well as anybody in the game.
Yeah.
So I put them at number 2. So my top 5: Giants at number 5.
Okay.
Vikings at 4. Dallas at 3.
Yep.
49ers at 2 and the Eagles at 1.
Wow, we're dead on 4 through 1. Okay?
Are we really? Okay.
Yeah, we're both Packers, Cowboys,
No, I didn't.
Niners.
No Packers. No Packers.
I'm sorry. I said Vikings.
Yeah.
I said Packers. We're
Okay.
both Vikings, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles, 4
Yep.
through 1. Okay.
Well, who do you have at 5?
I call me crazy here. I still have the Packers.
Don't say Tampa.
No,
the
I have the Packers. I do.
thought you were going to say Tampa.
No, look, and I have been. I'll tell you the thing that's been most disappointing for me with them being the Packers is their defense. And I knew there was going to be growing pains with their offense.
Yes.
I still can't write Rodgers fully off. It's why I have them 5. I have the Bucks still at 6. Okay. I did 10. I have the Giants at 7, Rams 8, Seahawks 9, and Falcons 10. But our 4 through 1 is the same. The only thing with Minnesota is, and I give them credit, after the Eagles handled them, they've gotten it together. And I think O'Connell's a good head coach.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm all the way in on them yet. Like I
don't trust them.
I'm on the threshold with them.
They haven't put their foot on anybody. They have to rally to win games.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the name of the game is win the game any way you can win it. Yeah. I'm not sold on the Vikings, as you know, for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I hate them because of my brother. And number two, I've never been a Kirk Cousins fan. Kirk Cousins to me has never won a big game. Plain and simple. He puts up great regular season numbers, but he hasn't won a big game. If you look at his career. Now, granted, he played on some bad teams in Washington, but he's had the talent to do great things in Minnesota. And when a big game has come up, he's found a way to be small, throwing picks at the wrong time, so on and so forth. And the defense has let him down at times as well. But I need to see Kirk Cousins win a big game. I cannot put the Packers on a list of mine in the top 10. Now, if I put Green Bay on the list, now if you say top 10, okay, I'm putting Green Bay at like 8 or 9. I can't put them any higher than that until they get the defense problems worked out. But I will say, historically, when Aaron Rodgers comes out publicly after a game and says something, is when they flip the script. One year it's relax.
Yep.
They started out last year, got blasted in the season opener. Ended up winning 13 games last year, and they won some games. They weren't the favorites to win, and they won 13 games. And right now they're at sea level, and Rodgers came out after that game Sunday against the Jets. And, it's like when Rodgers speaks, people listen.
Yeah.
And hopefully his teammates are listening. But that run defense, if they don't shore that run defense up, they're in trouble. They're in major trouble.
That's more, if I'm a Green Bay fan, which I'm not, you are, I'm more worried about their defense than their offense with the way that they've started. By the way, I don't disagree with Sean S. Sean S. Says that the Vikings and Giants are being disrespected. I can't disagree with that completely. A part of it for me, with the Giants, I think they've done an unbelievable job overachieving. I just wonder if you can maintain that level with so limited options on offense. Like their defensive line is really good and legit, but you got Barkley playing amazing, but it's just Barkley mostly, and he's got a bad shoulder. I mean, he gutted it out last week. For anybody who watched that game when they played the Ravens, he was hurting pretty bad. So I get it, and you may be right in the long run about them. We'll see. And Dominic says that we're overrating McCaffrey. I mean, this is all contingent upon him staying healthy, and he doesn't have to carry and he also doesn't have to carry the load like he used to have to do in Carolina. I mean, even if you just look at his numbers this year, it's a garbage team with no quarterback, right?
No.
So he's got almost 400 yards rushing, 4.6 yards per carry. He's their leading receiver, 33 catches, 277 yards, and a touchdown. I'm not telling you the numbers are like overwhelming. They're not. But I feel like he almost gets a new lease on life going there, and he doesn't have to do as much.
And that was part of the problem why he was getting hurt so much. They relied too much on him because they didn't have a whole lot of everything else. But now he doesn't have to be the main show. You've got so many weapons in San Francisco that they're so diversified in their game plan that, he'll fit right in. Now, how much will he play this week? I don't know, because I didn't think Robbie Anderson would play last night for Arizona, and he played.
I think they sneak him into some kind of package, Derek.
You're right. You're right. I mean, nowadays, he's in football shape, so why not? Give him he might get 8-10 touches just to get his feet wet with the 49ers, and then he takes off next week. But I think when you look at the quality of player that he can be, and he's still a younger player, he's not an old player. That's a great addition. I think San Francisco got fleeced in a deal. You give up a second, third, fourth in next year's draft. You don't have a first-round pick next year because of the Trey Lance move you made to move up to get him 2 years ago. So they don't have a first, second, third. Well, they still have a third. They have 2/3, I believe, in compensation picks for losing Robert Saleh and Mike McDaniels coming up. And then they don't have a fifth-round pick. They gave up a fifth round also in 2024. That's a lot to give up on a player whose history the last 2 years has shown he can't stay on the field.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting deal for both teams. Like if I'm Carolina, you weren't getting a first. I don't know anybody who thought that was happening. You weren't. That wasn't going to happen. I thought they got a good return on it, and they got out from under a big salary for a running back, which is not the way you want to go these days, right?
Yeah, they did. Right. And not only that, but Carolina's put themselves in a prime position to get their quarterback of the future next year now that they're gutting the team.
Yes. You're using all of this to try to get up, to try to get Stroud or one of these guys. That's the move. Yeah. So I think there's that aspect of it. I don't think you want to do this if you're the Niners because you did give a lot up to get him. However, there's no guaranteed money other than what he's owed this year, which isn't a ton for San Francisco to have to pay on the last 3 years of this deal. So if he's getting hurt a lot or he's not playing, you're just like, all right, either we're cutting ties or we'll bring you back at a cheaper number if you're the 49ers. So at least from that standpoint, the only thing is if you just stay with him, he is costing you a lot of money on your cap.
Yep.
So it's a little bit, it's a little tricky. There's a give and take there, for sure. But I think they're viewing it like the NFC's wide open. I mean, other than what the Eagles have done, I'm saying for everybody else, the NFC's wide open. The Cowboys don't appear to be great. We'll see how they do now that they're getting Dak back this week. Vikings don't seem to be great. Packers are vulnerable. Bucks are vulnerable. Giants are a great story. Can they keep it up? Rams, their own division, they know what that looks like. They beat them a couple weeks ago. Seattle, does that keep up? I don't feel like
I don't know. I don't know. I think they're going to be an entertaining team every week.
They're fun. I mean, they score a lot of points, man.
Yeah, they do.
They're fun to watch. They're the opposite of the Legion of Boom. It's not
the only problem is their defense is ranked dead last in the league.
Yes, their defense is they're right there with Detroit, in terms of giving up points. And then there's the Falcons, and then what? Like, what else? There's nothing else. The Cardinals, I don't know.
I will say, with DeAndre back, that Cardinals team got a jolt. They got 2 defensive touchdowns. In back-to-back throws. One wasn't Dalton's fault, but 2 defensive touchdowns. Kyler has his guy back. That's huge for them in that offense. That takes a lot of pressure off Murray to have him back. And you get Robbie Anderson acclimated to their scheme. I don't count the Cardinals out yet. I'm not saying they're going to win the division. I'm saying don't count them out in being in a wild card. Let's in about 3 to 4 weeks. Let's see where the Cardinals are with as mediocre as the NFC is right now. Let's see where the Cardinals are in the mix of things and how they might affect our rankings in about 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be one to keep your eye on, for sure, without question. So, to me, you look at where things are right now from an Eagle standpoint. They get the bye week, good. Let Lane Johnson get healthy. Let some other guys get healthy. Good. You feel good about that. I'd probably rather it be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but okay, it is what it is. Use it to your advantage right now. Let me throw this at you, Eagles schedule-wise.
Okay.
After the bye week, they're home against Pittsburgh. I'm just going to read them off to you real quick here, and you tell me, what you think. Where we're looking at a loss here, Derek, okay? Pittsburgh in 2 weeks, or a week from Sunday, at home, win-loss. I think it's a win.
I agree.
At Houston, quick turnaround Thursday night.
Houston's defense has been playing pretty good. I'm not enamored with their offense, so that's an Eagles win.
Okay. Washington, I don't know if Wentz will be back or not at that. He's 4 to 6 weeks.
He's not 4 to 6.
Around 4 weeks.
I don't think so. I don't think he'll be back.
That's a Monday night here. That's a long. They're off from the previous Thursday to Monday night. It's almost like a bye week in and of itself there.
Yes, it is. Taylor Heineke, quarterback in that team. It depends on what Washington does.
Yeah, are they buried by then? Yeah, that's what you don't know. Yeah,
but I think Taylor's going to give them a spark that Wentz can't give them. And obviously, they're still reeling from what the Eagles did to them back on September 25th. That's a win. I'm going to give it a win because it's here in Philly.
Okay. Here's where I think is the danger zone, the trouble zone.
Again, brilliant minds think alike.
Yeah, there's a loss somewhere here. At Indy.
Yep.
Green Bay home, a Sunday night game.
Yep.
Tennessee, I could probably even dip into at New York. There's definitely a loss or two in there, in my opinion.
I'm thinking the same thing. Green Bay's offense can't continue to sputter. Sammy Watkins is coming back, although, he's not the Sammy Watkins he used to be. He'll be a veteran presence that Roger hasn't had for a couple of weeks. He should be back by then. It all depends. Can the Eagles run on their Packers defense? Can the Packers defense fix their run defense problems? They had problems all last year. Green Bay was a top 10 defense overall. They still had problems against the run last year. They continue to have problems against the run this year. If the Eagles could run the ball down their throat, Green Bay's losing that game. Tennessee, how much will they have in the bag other than Derrick Henry? That's a home game also.
Mm-hmm.
But those two games at Indy, at New York, those are the two games that intrigue me the most. Indy plays better at home than they do on the road. They're on their carpet. If Jonathan Taylor is healthy with that defense, it's going to be an interesting game. I don't see that game as being a blowout game. He could go either way.
Yep.
And look at the Giants. I mean, we keep talking about we're waiting for the Giants to falter, but when you look at the Giants' schedule, as I'm about to right now.
While you're looking at that, they get the Giants twice in a 5-week span there. That week, which is week 14, and then they get them week 18.
Okay, so the Giants in back-to-back weeks have beaten Green Bay and Baltimore.
Yep, legit teams.
Okay, here's their next four: Jacksonville, Seattle, Houston, Detroit. They can easily win those four.
Really rolling going into that game. Yeah.
And then the game after that, Thanksgiving Day, they play at Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go Washington, Philly, Washington. And then Minnesota, Indy, Philly. So the Giants should still be relevant at that time when the Eagles play them. I know people are saying Giants are fraud, they're overrated. No, they're not, because they're 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it with marginal talent. And it goes back to the two main sources to the success of the Giants, the head coach and the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They got these guys believing in themselves.
And
they're playing great ball.
Yeah.
So you can't count the Giants out.
So I wonder with the Giants, two things. Can Saquon hold up with the load they're asking him to carry every single week physically? Can Daniel Jones continue to not turn the ball over, which has been an issue for him in his career?
He's done it so far.
Yeah, those are the two things for me. Like, I believe in their defensive line in particular, but I think their defense is pretty good, and Thibodeau's just going to get better and better and better. So like that area, I don't have any questions about. I think they're gonna be tough. Look, this is a layup, a game that looked like a layup before the season started. Two games actually that look like layups before the season started that aren't. As much as other teams have, not lived up to the hype that we thought. Like, we thought Pittsburgh would be better. I didn't think they'd be great. I thought they'd be better because we didn't know about the quarterback. But they've really kind of struggled here. I'm surprised. The Colts look like they're sort of writing it, and Matt Ryan's getting better, and they're getting healthier. I think Indy is the one, Derek. That's the one. I'm going to go with Indy.
Yeah, I don't in any way, shape, or form. I don't see them losing that game to Pittsburgh. But I will say this: Pittsburgh does have a trio of receivers that can flat out go. They have some great pass catchers in it. James, Najee Harris is an excellent running back. It's the cross-state rivalry.
If they even get decent quarterback play, there's a lot of other weapons there.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. And you got Deontay Johnson, who's now griping he's not getting the ball enough. Again, if I'm laying money on that game, I'm putting all my money on the Eagles, but you never know. I mean, that's one of those you never know games. That's one of those games that fall into the category of everything you think should happen might not happen.
Yeah.
Because of the unpredictability of the rivalry between the two. We call it a rivalry because it's in state. It's not like they play each other every year, but because it's in state. I am not afraid of Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett.
Pickett cleared protocol, by the way, FYI. So he will start this. I know. I'm just saying he will start this week. Yeah. I'm not I'm not either. And I don't know, Watt, it's still up in the air when he's going to get back. He's not playing this week. And at what capacity is he going to be? Because he didn't get the surgery. And we know when those guys don't get surgery on that, it's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So what's that going to look like? And I don't know that they aren't starting to maybe tune Tomlin out a little. When you're there for Derek, you know this. You saw it with Andy Reid at the end. When guys are there forever in the NFL, sometimes it just gets a little stale. And you need a change of scenery sometimes. Like he would get a job in a heartbeat, but I just don't know if it's kind of getting old there.
Especially when it's going bad. They've lost more than they've won. That comes into the equation also. But then I look at a guy like Pete Carroll. Look how long he's been in Seattle. Everybody thought his team was dead to rights this year. They have nothing. Everybody said they have nothing. Everybody snickered, us included. We snickered when we said Geno Smith, quarterback in that team.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, Geno has the second best completion percentage. The offense can score points. The only problem is the defense gives up everything. They're like matadors. They're like the Ole defense. They give up everything. Okay. But they're at 500. They're sitting here at 500. They're winning games we didn't think they would win.
Yeah. I'm really surprised at Seattle. I'm really surprised. I got to tell you, two teams that have maybe in a positive way surprised me the most are Seattle and Atlanta. I thought they were going to be doormats, man.
I agree.
Like, I didn't see this coming at all. Like, if I had to look, I would certainly start with those two. If I had to go beyond that, I didn't think the Raiders, I didn't believe in them like Barrett did by any stretch, but I didn't think they'd be 1-4.
Yeah.
I didn't think Denver would look like this, like their offense being a total train wreck.
Nope.
I'm just trying to think of some other teams.
Raiders.
I'm saying Raiders. Like, yeah.
You just said Raiders. Okay.
They're the ones I
didn't think Tampa Bay would be this mediocre, but
when
you look at, they can't keep anybody healthy. You got a quarterback who's got things other than football on his mind.
There's just a weird aura around Brady.
Every week is somebody going down. It's offensive lineman. Now it's Cameron Brate. Now it's Logan Ryan. Every week is somebody going down on that team.
Yeah. It just feels like it's just not meant for them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just kind of the way it feels for them. But yeah, I mean, there's that's why, again, just to circle back to how we started this. That's why if you're the Niners, you're in go for it mode. You're why not? Yeah.
They're following suit of the Rams. The Rams sold a farm. They won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Niners got to be thinking with the talent we have on this team, even though we're 500, we still could win this thing.
So does this spark Howie? We know Howie's aggressive to begin with. Does this spark him in any way to pull the trigger on something? And if he did, what area would you address?
Daily life sparks Howie. That's his history. That's Howie's history.
That's a good
Howie's looking to wheel and deal every day, but it has to make sense for him. And let's face it, the last 2 years, everything that he has done has made sense to Howie and us in the general public. Okay. If there's a move that needs to be made, somehow, some way, Howie may make it. You asked me, where would he make this move? It might be, that's a tough one, Rob, because they're as complete a team as anybody in the league.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
Yeah. You know what I would say, Derek? I'd say defensive end. I would still say defensive end.
Another pass. Because they're
and I'm not giving a ton up.
Not getting home. No.
I'm not giving a ton up. I just, Brandon, a little bit up there, Sweat, inconsistent a little bit. You've lost Barnett. I know Reddick is more of a defensive end than anything else. I get that. But that's
more of a pass rusher than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. I would look there. Running back is not totally out of the question.
No. But you got a good trio of backs that serve their purpose well there. Why would you disrupt that chemistry, I thought running back as well, but
the
more I think about it, I don't think I'd mess with that chemistry.
I think O-line's a possibility. Maybe tackle. You're getting Dillard back.
I don't know, man.
You're getting Dillard back, which is big. But I don't know if Driscoll can handle
Malata's
that.
back.
Yeah. Or a return
I don't know, man.
For a cheap, some team that's going nowhere that's got an okay returner.
Yeah.
Throw a sixth at them or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say returner or edge rusher. I don't see this
Yeah.
team needing much else now, unless something catastrophic would happen before the trade deadline, like one of your main
Changes
corners goes
everything.
down for an extended period of time, changes
Yeah.
everything.
Everything.
But the way this team is structured right now, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Now,
It's a good look.
not a
These are
whole
good
lot.
problems. We're reaching, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great
Yeah.
problem to have, especially when you're undefeated.
Amen.
You know?
Amen. All right, let's get a timeout. We come back. We will set our sights on the game 3 of the NLCS tonight between the Padres and the Phillies. The one and only Larry Anderson, LA, as Harry used to say, will be joining us when
I
we
love
get
Larry's
back.
voice.
Yes, he does have the good voice. So that's Derek. I'm Rob. Barrett off today, but we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, talking some Phils. When we get back, let's talk a little Pro Action Restoration. All right, my good friends at Pro Action Restoration are down in Florida right now, helping out the victims of Hurricane Ian and trying to get them back on their feet and their homes and just help. And that's what they do. And that's how they roll. So if you have a home or you have a business or a property that has experienced the inconvenience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, whatever the case may be, they can help you. Pro Action is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I've gone through it personally, and it was on a weekend, and I wasn't sure if I could get anybody out to my parents' house, and they got out there quick. The crew was professional, clean, and the price was reasonable. They did a great job. I'm telling you, they are the people to call if you have any kind of issues. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So fire, water, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or you can reach them online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.